Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you today. A lot of talk about the Undertaker Wrestlemania 32 match, which is coming up around the corner. Some people are really thinking it's going to be Braun Strowman. Some people are saying that it's not going to be Braun Strowman, and people are throwing around who they think Undertaker should have a match against at WrestleMania. Honestly, in my opinion, it should be an historic match, and whoever's going to be having this match, honestly, should be able to help Undertaker have a match, which is a five-star classic, a lot like Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels. Undertaker has meant so much to the business, and he has so many fans, and I think that the WrestleMania Undertaker streak, although that a lot of times during the streak was going on, it didn't mean a lot to me. I like the Undertaker coming out and having great matches year after year, but honestly, when I was thinking about it, I kept on thinking that people were making it seem like the Undertaker streak meant more than the WWE Championship match because the streak was on the line, and there was guys like Triple H and Shawn Michaels that really made that a part of the Undertaker's WrestleMania feud. Was they wanted to end this. They wanted to be the guy that on their headstone, when it was all said and done, or on their Hall of Fame plaque, defeated the WrestleMania streak, was going to be one of the highlights of their career, and nothing was really going to mean more than that. It's hard to pick somebody on the roster. Definitely, a lot like the Super Bowl, which is going to be going down this weekend. You want to have sort of the quarterback of the future against the quarterback of the past. The passing of a torch from Peyton Manning to Cam Newton is what a lot of people are painting the story of WrestleMania 50 to be. So it's hard. Who would Undertaker pass the torch to in the WWE locker room? Or did Undertaker already pass the torch at WrestleMania 30 by getting defeated by Brock Lesnar, and now he's just sort of, riding on borrowed time, and is almost like becoming one of the, Japanese legends that I watch on New Japan World, that New Japan plugs into these matches on shows because the Japanese culture sort of values these guys, and they don't really look at, the old guys as like, oh man, they're old and they can't do what they used to do. They still sort of value them as, as good as they were in the past is as good as they are now. It's not out of the world for, a 60-year-old guy to come, into the ring and body slam, one of the young guys. He did, it's just one of the spots that's in his match, and it still means as much today as it means in yesterday. But in WWE, they sort of phase guys out, and guys come back for, old school Raw, or, something like that to sort of highlight the past, and guys like, Jake the Snake on that old school Raw. They get their last pop, and that's what it is. But it's hard for me to think of somebody on the roster that's going to bring the best out of The Undertaker and have a match that's going to mean something. I think it would be cool if Kevin Owens challenged The Undertaker to have a match, sort of going along with the storyline that he's a prize fighter, and definitely fighting The Undertaker would mean that he's in one of the co-main events, and you got to think about how crazy it is that really within 1 year, with him making his his debut in the Elimination Chamber, well, not in the Elimination Chamber, but at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view when he defeated John Cena. Now here he is going up and fighting The Undertaker. Definitely when I think of Owens versus Undertaker, I laugh to myself. I was never the biggest Kevin Steen fan when he was in Ring of Honor, but definitely he was one of the reasons why I watched Ring of Honor. It was a big deal, and I think honestly, I only saw Kevin Steen wrestle live once when we went to WrestleMania 28 in Miami, and we had those front row seats for that ROH show, and him and Generico. Who was it who put? I think it was Owens put Generico through that table right in front of us, but I'm not 100% sure. It could be the other way around. But it sort of makes me laugh, seeing how this was a guy that was, wrestling for Ring of Honor. He was wrestling independence, and now here he is more than likely going up against The Undertaker. It would be a damn good physical match. Definitely Owens is a guy that's going to tell Taker to hit him as hard as he needs to, and he's going to hit Undertaker back just as much, and Undertaker's going to respect him for that. But, there's definitely no it sucks to call them mid-carders, but I mean, like, Undertaker versus Dolph Ziggler, doesn't really have an appeal. We've already seen Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt and Undertaker versus every single one of those guys as something that's going to mean something. I heard that somebody was pitching that there was going to be a 6-man tag where it would be Undertaker, Kane, and the Big Show going up against Bray Wyatt's lackeys. That Bray Wyatt wouldn't even be in the match because Bray Wyatt would be consumed with Brock Lesnar and they would use him in a singles match. If you want to do that for Survivor Series and basically have sort of a throwaway match that Brock's going to be a part of, that's fine. I mean, but this is WrestleMania. This is the big stage, and you gotta go out swinging. Definitely when Ric Flair had his gimmick of basically, being, you're going to win or you're going to be retired, when that WrestleMania feud was getting started with Vince basically challenging Rick that he wasn't going to be around forever. The next time he lost, he was going to be forced to retire. I remember, that they had the match, I believe, at the Royal Rumble, which was Flair versus MVP. The match wasn't dynamite, but definitely got me thinking that, Shawn Michaels beating Ric Flair was one for the ages, and it was really good, but it didn't really help out Shawn Michaels. Why didn't they have maybe the Money in the Bank match? Definitely you cash in to become champion is how they normally work that out, but why didn't they have some sort of stipulation that basically instead of going for a championship match, you got any match that you wanted any time? And maybe at WrestleMania or maybe at the Raw after WrestleMania, you would have had a guy like MVP, who was a rising star at the time. Why wouldn't you have him win the Money in the Bank and then have him get a surprise win over Ric Flair? And all of a sudden, he gets the heat of, the fans saying, like, you retired Ric Flair. You're the reason why Ric Flair wasn't around. I don't know if anybody on WWE's roster can really get that. But, I mean, if we're looking to have one good match at WrestleMania, I think Owens versus Undertaker is probably the best match that we can do to give Undertaker that last ride-off.